Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I am PH, your host, and you're listening to 1983. Today we're going to kind of go off the beaten path a little bit. Usually we have a topic that we want to talk about, and we find some references, we spend some time writing down kind of like a summary of what we want to talk about. I don't necessarily like to read from a script, but I do like to have stuff written down in front of me to refer to, and today we're kind of going to go against that. I wanted to talk about what happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock during the Oscars. There's people on both sides that have differing opinions, and it's kind of weird to see. There's people on the left that think he should be canceled, and there's people on the left that think he should be coddled. That's something you don't usually see, but there's people on the right that are kind of leaning toward the canceling idea. And then also people on the right that are being a little bit more compassionate about things. I think we need to look at it in the same way that we would look at a stranger walking up to someone else and slapping them. Regardless of whether or not it was on live TV or not. If you don't want your kids to see stuff like that, they probably shouldn't have been watching the Oscars anyway. A lot of the movies and TV shows that are portrayed in Hollywood do portray violence. Now, this was a real life violence, but if you're not wanting your kids to see stuff like that, why were they watching the Oscars in the first place? Anyway, back to the whole, stranger walks up to a stranger and smacks him. If the person that got smacked doesn't want to press charges, I think short of domestic violence, which I'm pretty sure the police have to do something in that case. But if the person doesn't want to press charges or doesn't want to press charges right away, the police don't have to do anything. That's the beauty of this country. If you can take a butt whooping and you don't want to turn it in, that's fine. As far as the Academy punishing him, they're a private entity. Technically, they have their own governing body. And in my personal opinion, they can do whatever they want to do. But I don't think that I want them punishing him in the name of social justice. I think all of that is crap. This whole difference between crimes and hate crimes being who attacked who is racist in and of itself. Now, it happened to be a black person smacking another black person. So hate crime probably never even came into anyone's minds, but I guess what I'm trying to get across is it needs to be handled in private. There doesn't need to be a public dragging of Will Smith through the streets. And as far as people that want to cancel him, in my personal opinion, if he's a good actor, he should be able to continue acting. We shouldn't be canceling people over stuff like this. I agree that there should be a penance, some sort of penalty that he has to pay to continue doing this. But I don't think that canceling someone over a momentary lapse in judgment during an emotional time, I don't agree. I definitely don't agree with the people on the right being canceled over, and they went after Joe Rogan. He's about as middle of the road as you get. Probably still pretty left-leaning in some topics. I think hunting is the only thing that he's really very conservative on. I just don't think people should be canceled for stuff like this. The other part of this is, he may have had some sort of mental break. But you don't get to just go up and smack people because you feel like smacking people, No, even if they insulted your wife or anything like that. 20, 30 years ago, maybe that was more okay. But people used to be able to settle differences, smacking each other around a bit. I remember in high school, there were kids that had fist fights. Some of them became best friends afterwards, and some of them realized that they could agree to disagree. Nowadays, people pull out a knife or pull a gun. They can't take a hit. So societally, I think we're at the point where if you can't settle it with words, it probably has to be settled in court, and that saddens me. But I'll just sum it up. I don't think Will Smith should be canceled. I do think he should have to do some sort of punishment, whether it's anger management or community service or something like that. In my opinion, he assaulted someone on national television, so maybe he should serve some jail time. Because we don't want to set this precedent that you can just come out and smack someone because you don't like something that they said, especially a comedian. And I think Chris Rock is probably one of the biggest badasses I've ever seen in Hollywood. He took a punch or a slap on national television and just kind of kept rolling in with what he was planning on doing anyway. He did take a second to pause and say, wow, that was weird. But he went right into his next line. Moral of the story is, don't go around slapping people. And definitely don't go around trying to cancel people. There will be punishment later on, whether it, if humans don't punish each other, in my opinion, when you get to the big man upstairs, you're going to be taken care of. So we'll wrap it up there. Thank you for listening. Hopefully it was a good one. Have a good night. God bless. And we will see you next time.